Grow up, they say. When will you mature? When will you become a man? Well, what does it mean to mature? What does it mean to grow up? And why is it such an important thing anyway? I would argue that it isn't. I posit instead that, like many boilerplate maxims that get thrown around on the internet as well as in real life, this one is as empty as a discarded KFC bucket. You see, the call for maturity is usually made by those with an agenda. After all, the term immature itself is undeniably pejorative. That is, it is used to criticize someone or put them down. Maybe you can think of an example of when someone's described another person as immature in a complimentary way, but I can't think of one. In fact, calling someone immature is, as people say these days, a shaming tactic. It's a way of signalling disapproval and, importantly, implying that such disapproval is universal. Immature, after all, feels like an objective rather than subjective appraisal. Everyone would think the same thing, is the implication. In fact, though, this is untrue. Everyone doesn't view these things in the same way. And so you see that the term immature is often used as a subtle weapon, as a way of trying to make someone change their behaviour so that it falls in line with what the speaker wants him to do. Let's take, as an entirely random example, being a carefree bachelor in one's 40s, or at least dating around at that age. Many people would suggest that that's immature. He hasn't grown up, he takes no responsibility, he's a Peter Pan, and so on. Of course, every speaker comes from a different angle, but in many cases, what is happening here is that someone who has done what they consider to be the right thing, probably settling down and having a few kids and mortgaging himself to the hilt to purchase that cliched white picket fence gaff, is seeking to subtly castigate another who hasn't followed the programme. Why might that be? Is it, do you think, that the one throwing shade genuinely believes that the world will be a better place if the other conformed to his ideal? Or might it be that the speaker is in some way triggered by the other's lifestyle and is using the term immature as a kind of cudgel to get him to change his ways? The reality is that there's no one objective standard for what is mature and what isn't. There is merely societal expectation and tradition. You mature, or become an adult, as you age. That's it. By definition, a person who is 50 years old is mature, regardless of whether he has a family and a stable job in insurance, or he parties all the time. Because when you think about it, who is to say what manner of experience in life is better or worse? Yes, our arrant 50-year-old hasn't taken on the responsibilities that the other man has, and therefore his experience will differ, but to ascribe a value judgment to it, to imply that it's worse than the other guys, doesn't really make sense. We're all on this planet for a few decades when it comes down to it. Some, unfairly, will only get a few years. Everyone experiences what they experience and lives through what they live through, and then they die. That is, they go from a state of existence and consciousness to a state of nothing. They are no longer aware that they ever existed because they no longer exist. They are nothing anymore, and they may as well never have been anything. It's interesting that we never say someone who dies young, a child for example, has had a wasted life, because in that instance, we recognise the importance of honouring whatever curtailed experience they did have. So it's strange that people feel okay shaming others who are older in this way, simply because they haven't done what society tells them is a good idea. For the continuation of society, of course. So what should you take from all of this? That you must do what you want to do. That you must do what your will leads you to do. And never mind the naysayers who would seek to criticise you. It is social shaming, when you think about it, that is in part responsible for so many broken and unhappy marriages. Would all of those people have got married in the first place if they'd have been honest with themselves about what they wanted versus what was expected of them? It's hard to live for yourself and not others sometimes. But you must strive to do so with all your strength, because if you fail, you may wake up one day with the nasty feeling that you haven't really been living at all. If you'd like to support me and my work, then you could support me on Patreon for just $5 a month. The link is below. You'll get an exclusive video like this one once a week, plus you can ask me any questions for future videos. If you'd like a free call with me to discuss your own particular dating situation, then hit the link in the description below. You can also check out my bundle of 11 books about dating, sex, and the dating marketplace called Renegade Dating Blueprints. Again, the link is in the description below. And finally, Charisma and Dating Academy, my mindset course on how to have an exceptional dating life, all the tools that you need, launches on the 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November. For more information on that, join my email list. Again, the link is in the description below. Bye-bye.